Hello, my friends. My name is Evelyn Joy, and welcome back to my channel. A while back, I shared what my plan was for the school year, and now that we are over a month in, I wanted to share how everything is going. I have a pretty busy schedule with teaching online and homeschooling, but I wanted to report that everything is going fantastic. So I have four kiddos. Esther's about to turn 8, literally in a couple weeks. Deborah is 6 3/4. She'll be 7 in January. Caleb will be 3 before we know it in December. And Joshy just turned 5. So basically almost 8, 6, 5, and 2. So busy, busy, busy. Um, so I think I'm going to talk about each one of my kids, what they do educationally, what my goals are for them, and then talk about our schedule. Okay. So first, we have Esther. Esther is in second grade. And she's doing like third grade level math right now. So she takes two online classes for math. One of them is like for like addition and subtraction. The other one's for like multiplication. She's not yet to division. But again, she's in second grade. So um she's like memorized so many multiplication facts just from watching like that's the other thing. When the TV's on, it's something educational or Christian. So either it's like praise music, kids praise music, or like a Bible story, or it's like math or reading. So we watch shows like um number blocks. They've memorized so many multiplication facts just from watching number blocks. Since my little ones, like Joshy and Caleb, they know all their letters and letter sounds, but they're starting to learn how to put words together. We watch like Alpha Blocks, Word World, and Super Y because those like help you learn how to put words together and learn how to read, right? I also got some like educational DVDs that are like Leapfrog and stuff like that about learning colors because right now my goal for Caleb's like colors and shapes. I'm supposed to be just talking about Esther. It's hard to just talk about one, right? So Esther, she's taking a couple of online classes about math. She also takes an online class that is just to grow her love of reading. So she does with Miss Hillary. She does a um what do you call it? She does a tea party story time class. And then she's going to be starting with my friend Pranithia. She's going to be starting cursive handwriting class. She already was doing some cursive handwriting in the past, but I want her to get back to practicing that. Even though she's just in second grade, I think those things are important. My kids all do Spanish with me. Like, for example, if I'm teaching online and I've only got a few students, a handful of students, and one of my kids says they want to sit in, I allow one child at a time to sit next to me during a class. I don't allow any more than one kid with me. With the exception of yesterday, I did my first uh, preschool online class, and I had both my boys with me because I just had one student, and it was a friend of mine's daughter. So anyway, that was the preschool online class. But that was my first time Caleb's come with me to a class. But either Esther or Deborah or sometimes Joshy will sit next to me for a Spanish lesson so that they kind of get their Spanish in as well. Each one of my kids has a workbook. So Esther has a workbook. If my kids say they want their iPad, they have to like either do 2 pages of writing in their workbook, or with like Esther, she takes piano lessons. So she has piano homework and piano practice. So sometimes I'll say, if you want to get your iPad, you have to do some piano homework or piano practice. So, and then they had reading charts for the summer, but they completed them. So I'm going to make new reading charts for the winter and fall time because we're going to be stuck inside a lot if it's super cold outside, right? So we'll want to have like educational activities, not just screens all the time, right? All right. So then with Esther, she goes to homeschool co-op on Tuesdays. All of my kids do. And so at homeschool co-op, Esther has first hour is Spanish with me. It's just Esther and Deborah take Spanish with me first hour. Second hour, they do Bible class. at Homeschool Co-op, which is so nice, because they have, like, a memory verse to work on and stuff like that. It helps give me ideas of what to teach them in that area. Their 3rd class of the day is, like, gym, so they go outside and basically have, like, PE/recess. Then we have, like, a lunch break, and the 4th hour, they have science, so which is really cool because they built, like, a catapult, and it's so nice because the science teacher comes up with science experiments that I wouldn't think of, you know what I mean? So, that's awesome. I love not having to come up with everything, right? So, that's Tuesdays. Wednesdays, my both my girls go to Christian school at a church nearby, just on Wednesdays. We pay for that, but they also have a scholarship. There's only 12 students in the Christian school. There was 13, now there's going to be 12 because one's moving to Florida. But there's 12 students. So there's 10 students that are there full time, and then my 2 girls just go on Wednesdays. So they have gym, PE, they have science, they have art, they have music class. I love that they're taking those classes at the Christian school because those are the kinds of classes that I prefer them to take with other kids because gym class is more fun playing with other kids and stuff. So yeah. Wednesday evenings, we just found an amazing Awana program. So Awana is awesome because they're memorizing Bible verses, so that counts as like a Bible class, right? And then also they have like a gym class, so they're running around doing like relay races and stuff with other kids. I love that. So I'm going to be paying $80 for the whole year for 3 of my kids, my 3 big kids, to do Awana. But I feel like that is a worthy investment because every Wednesday they're going to have basically like Bible and gym, and it's like 2 hours, right? So I feel like that's a really good deal. So we just went to that on Wednesday. My kids loved it and want to go back. So I'm thrilled that we found a good Awana program at a really good Bible church with actually some of the parents are people I went to college with, Bible college. So I know them. So it's awesome. Really good setup. All right. So on Thursdays, so we do online, my kids do online classes Mondays and Thursdays because we do homeschool co-op on Tuesdays. They do Christian school on Wednesdays. So I'm just talking about Esther's schedule. So Monday she has a math class. Thursday she has a multiplication class and a uh, tea party class, with story time tea party class. So then also on Mondays we're going to be starting cursive handwriting in October. So yeah. And then Fridays, I leave open for field trips and doctor's appointments. For example, my girls had to get physicals for the Christian school, so I took them to their yearly doctor's checkup to make sure they're healthy and everything's good. And like coming up in November, we're gonna have a field trip with our homeschool co-op. We're going to Legoland in our city, which is really exciting. I've always wanted to go, but it's kind of expensive. So with the group discount with our homeschool co-op, I'm looking forward to it being affordable, which is awesome. Because I've been meaning to take my kids to Legoland, but I want to visit it before I buy like a whole year pass to know if it's like something we actually will want to go to a lot. But the nice thing is it's indoors, so for cold weather and stuff, yeah. Um, Also, we have passes to the Children's Museum, so we go there. We don't currently have a pass to the zoo, but when it's nice weather, I will renew our pass to go to the zoo when it's warmer. We go to parks when it's nice weather and have play dates on Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays. So Saturdays, I do have my kids do a little bit of homework because um I spread out the homework. I don't require as much homework of them, because I spread it out more. They do homework throughout the summer and throughout winter break and stuff. Why? Because I don't want to do as much homework at a time. But they each have a workbook that I want them to get through in a year. It's pretty thick. It's a Walmart workbook. So like Esther has the second grade one, Deborah has the first grade one, Joshy has the kindergarten one. So yeah. All right. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Esther. She does piano lessons and has piano. That's so like her music. Okay. So her music she receives from piano lessons and Wednesdays. So that's Esther. So next for Deborah. Deborah, she takes telling time class and counting money class. Why? Because I think those are the classes that Esther took in first grade. And I feel like counting money and telling time are some of my main goals. Okay, my main goals for Deborah, because she's in first grade, learn how to count money, learn how to tell time, which she's doing fantastic in both. Wonderful. Thank you, teacher Hillary, who's our online teacher. Um, learn how to sit in a chair and follow instructions really well. I don't know. It's hard to tell with my Deborah and with my Joshua if they possibly have some ADHD or if it's just that they are homeschool kids that haven't been made to like sit in a chair and follow instructions, but that's something that I want both Deborah and Joshy to learn how to do is sit in your chair or follow instructions. And honestly, Deborah has improved leaps and bounds over the last year, so I feel like a lot of my concerns are it's getting a lot better. Partly because she's growing up and maturing, partly because she's doing homeschool co-op and she does Sunday school at church. That's the other thing, Sunday school at church as well as another class. And then she also does Christian school 1 day a week. I was really concerned about her. Her first day of Christian school, I had to pick Deborah up like an hour and a half early because she was just like she was burnt out and refusing to participate. She ripped her paper and scribbled on it and did not want to do it. And she's had a few papers come home with scribbles on it. And so when I make her love note in her lunchbox, I tell her no scribbles. And I told her, I'm not going to keep paying for you to go to Christian school on Wednesdays if you are not going to behave yourself and participate. So thankfully, she hasn't been scribbling on her papers. She's been doing a good job. So I always remind her, on her love note, no scribbles, and when she brought home a couple of papers that were just scribbled out, she didn't do it. I threw them in the trash. She had a paper that she did it. She wrote the sentence and she drew a picture to go with it. Beautiful job. I laminated it, put it on the refrigerator as an example. Look what a great job you did. You don't have to scribble and rip your paper. When you feel frustrated, you can do your best. You can do it. It's 1 day a week. You can handle it. So anyway, with Deborah, counting money and telling time, and Deborah chose to be in choir. I took my 3 big kids that were all the age to be in choir, and I took them to the choir tryouts, and only Deborah had interest in being in choir. So saves me money. Only one of my kids is in choir because I pay $20 a month for her to be in choir 1 day a week. It's a homeschool choir and it's Christian, so it's really cool because they're learning, patriotic songs and Christian songs. And Deborah is very musically inclined, but she's not quite ready for piano lessons yet because she's not quite old enough and mature enough. And piano lessons for Esther is $25 a week. So I'm on the lookout for a piano teacher, not $25, $20 a week for Esther. So it's, yeah, I'm on the lookout for a piano teacher for Deborah that's maybe a closer location and a cheaper price so that I can afford it. So Deborah does choir. She does a couple of online classes, telling time, counting money. She has her workbook, so I'm really working on getting her to have good handwriting and also learning when to do capital letters and lowercase letters. She doesn't write any of her letters backwards, but she does sometimes get a couple of numbers backwards, so we're just working on that. I do want her to learn some math, but that's not like a main goal at the moment. But it will be down the road. But right now, like learning how to count money and tell time, that's kind of her math right now. So reading and writing. So I, have reading charts for all my kids for them to read me books. And Deborah enjoys reading, which is good. I have a huge collection of easy reader books for my kids to pick from. Some of my girls' favorite books that are more geared towards their interests are on the bookshelf in their room so they can more easily find the books they want to read. All right, next step. So Deborah takes a couple online classes. She goes to homeschool co-op. She takes similar classes as to her sister in that she's in my Spanish class first hour. She's separate from her sister. I think she takes Bible the second hour, but she doesn't have like a memory verse. She has just like a Bible lesson because she's the younger class. Third hour, she does the PE gym And then the 4th hour, she's not in her sister's science class. I think she's in her own science class. I'm not sure if that's just a playtime or what she does the 4th hour. I'll have to find that out. But I know she's separate from her sister, but I think she does science as well. I think. Um, so that's a good question. Wednesdays she does homeschool co-op. So yeah, and then Fridays we do Thursdays online class, and then Fridays we do field trips and appointments. All right, and workbooks and stuff. Deborah's doing a fantastic job at getting her workbook done because she's halfway through finishing her workbook because she's looking forward to when she finishes her full workbook, she gets to go on a date with mommy and pick out a toy at the store. So she's like, "Oh, I want to do this." It's motivation, right? Motivational. We have exercise bikes in our house for like some homeschool gym class when it's not nice weather outside. So sometimes when my kids have earned their iPad, I say, make sure you do some ABC Mouse. I pay $10 a month for them to have ABC Mouse on their iPad, which is geared to their educational level that has math on it as well. Hello, Laura. Welcome. So yeah, I'm going through and talking about each one of my kids and my goals for them for homeschooling. So next up comes Joshy. Joshy was his birthday was August 15th, so he just turned 5. So he was tested for kindergarten readiness. And although he is very smart intellectually, he's not mature emotionally as far as like staying in your chair and following instructions and those things. And so that's something we're working on with him. I have one online class with him with my friend Pranithia. She's working one-on-one with him right now. I mean, other students can sign up if they want to. Um, but he has like a little preschool class online where he's been learning to write and practice drawing. He tends to just like scribble and say he's done. So I'm working on, actually intentionally coloring inside the lines and doing a good job and encouraging him at that. Aw, thank you. So Joshy, I'm concerned about him a little bit, although I hear that it's normal from kindergarten teachers for summer birthday kiddos to not be ready for kindergarten. So this is like homeschooling. This is his first year of kindergarten, but he's gonna have a second year. So it's kind of like late pre-K type stuff, preschool slash kindergarten. So he has a kindergarten workbook. I try to encourage him every day, hopefully, most days, to do 2 pages of writing. He oftentimes wants to refuse, but then he wants his iPad. You don't get your iPad unless you either do 2 pages of writing or read me 2 books. He's got one book, he's got it practically memorized because he reads it all the time. Red Hat, Blue Hat, I let him read it to me as one of his books, but I make him pick a second book. And I have to help him reading the second book. So it's easy to read the one book that you've memorized, which I mean, for Esther, that was the first book she ever read as well. But yeah. Yeah, so I'm a little concerned about him because like at Awana, he's in Cubbies, and at homeschool co-op, we had him in the kindergarten class. I substituted in there. He was not behaving himself. He did not want to be on task, so we bumped him down to the preschool class at homeschool co-op. He's doing much better in there. It's much more his level, although he's taller than all the other kids in there. I'm like, his maturity level's the same though. Um, So in Awana, they wanted to put him in Sparky's, and I said he needs to be in Cubbies, which is the preschool class, whereas Sparky's would be like kindergarten, first, second grade. I was like, no, he needs to not be with his sister because they'll fight with each other. My 2 middles tend to bicker and squabble when they're bored. But that's another thing we're learning. We're learning to be kind because my kids are learning, Mama, don't play that. Like if we're driving in the car, Deborah and Joshy are in the back row. So it's minivan. They're in the back. And I'll see them doing this at each other. Well, I'll be letting them watch like Paw Patrol or something. As soon as I see them fighting or hitting each other, I turn off the Paw Patrol and I get to listen to the radio. I get to listen to mom's Christian music. And so that's sort of a little bit their punishment for like fighting with each other. So they're learning like, oh, Mama, don't play that. If I see them fighting with each other or making a huge mess, I like take the iPads away and say, okay, I'm taking the iPads away for 5 minutes. We're all going to clean up. If they throw a fit about it, they don't get their iPad back, right? So they're learning all about the things, right? Oh, Rebecca is here. Laura said, "LOL, you are describing mine right now." Haha. Yes. Well, yeah. So goals for Joshy is he's learning to write. He writes his name Joshy, but he doesn't want to write the line on the top of the J because he's seen that sometimes capital J's don't have a line. So he thinks he doesn't need to put the line at the top. I haven't been a stickler for that, but if I write him a dot to dot Joshy, I do it right. His S's in Joshy, he's been writing them backwards lately, even though he used to write them correctly. I think it's getting confused. It's confusing. S's and twos are like opposite each other, so they can be confusing for little kids. Anyway, so and his S's kind of look like Z's, but hey, he just turned 5. The cool thing is he knows how to write his name independently. It's not perfect, but we're getting there. Um, and he's done quite a bit of writing. Oftentimes with Joshy, I'll have to get daddy involved, unfortunately. I'm seeing the importance of a male figure with boys specifically in that he could care less if I punish him or tell him no or something. But if daddy, oh my goodness, daddy's approval is very important to my little boy. And so I say, I don't mean to give empty threats at all, but I'm very not empty threat. I say, do I need to talk to daddy about this or are you going to behave? And he'll straighten up. You know what I mean? Or sometimes if daddy's in the room, I'm like, daddy, can you please, daddy's my husband, David. I refer to him as daddy when the kids are in the room. Daddy, can you please tell Joshy that he needs to do his writing homework? And then he'll be like, mijito, my son, you need do your writing homework. Be good. You need to learn. And so then he'll be like, okay, fine, I'll do it. It's like he wants his daddy to like, I don't know, confirm his manliness or something. I don't know. Sometimes he works with daddy on fixing the car, and that's just like the best day ever for him, which is awesome. I can't wait for him to be a little bit older so he can work with daddy on the car more often and stuff. So I just see very much the importance of that father role with boys, and I'm thankful that my sons have that. Next up comes Caleb. Caleb is 2 3/4. On December 31st, he'll be turning 3. He is autistic. And so he's been teaching me. I've been learning what does it mean to be autistic for Caleb because it affects different people differently. For Caleb, he's very behind on his social speech, but he says things like he can identify every letter of the alphabet. Easy for him, right? He can count to 19. Cool, awesome, great. Just been working on colors lately. He's finally picking it up. Next comes shapes. Okay. But Caleb doesn't really, I don't know if his comprehension is behind or just his response is behind or both. But usually, typically with neurotypical, meaning children whose brain functions the typical way. Neurotypical children that are not autistic or ADHD or anything, usually at 2 years old, they're able to like answer questions like yes or no questions, like or respond when you say, hey, pick that up for me or turn off that light switch or something. Those are things that Caleb zero, zilch, nada, he does not respond in a way that you would think that he understands the language at all. It's completely ignored, right? So little by little, just lately, we've been starting to have a little bit of breakthroughs with that because he loves playing with the light switch. So I'll turn the light switch on, waste of electricity. But instead of me just turning it off and telling him no, 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 he understands yes and no if I say it, right? He understands stop. He understands go, 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 go. He loves going, running. So, anyway, all that to say, I've just been teaching him lately. When he turns on the light switch, I'm like, no, turn it off. Then I take his hand and I turn it off and I say, good job. So he totally comprehends that. So I'm starting to teach him turn it off, but that's with me leading him. When he wants juice or a banana, I make him use his words. I make him use his signs. So say he wants a banana, I say, banana, banana. And he'll say, anana, 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 anana. And he's so excited. And then I take his hand and I say, please, mama. And I take his hand and say, thank you. Sometimes he verbally says, thank you. And oftentimes he physically, like, it looks like he's scratching his back sometimes how he does the sign for please, but that's his adaptation of the sign that totally counts, right? So for Caleb, he it's easy for him to learn a new song. It is hard for him to communicate socially, right? So I love and treasure that he has words, but words like mama and mommy are few and far between, whereas other kids say it all the time, right? So we are working on that. And lately he's been saying mama and mommy, but the crazy thing is he doesn't say it to me like I'm the mama. It's like he's like babbling and rambling to talking to himself, and he's talking about mama and mommy, and he knows that's me, but he doesn't like say like to he doesn't like address me like say I'm mama. Lack of eye contact obviously is a normal thing with autism, but it's not something we want to force because um eye contact is uncomfortable for individuals with autism. So that's something that may become comfortable at some point for him, and he'll be feel like it, but I'm not going to force it. There's different kinds of therapies that I've declined because there's a lot of controversy around them, and I want to be careful not to do anything that um could be harmful to my son. I'm going to read some things. um Laura says wait till your father gets home, lol. um Rebecca, I'm reading the chat box. Rebecca said, some curriculum does not put a line over the J. Oh, yeah, that's true. I had to relearn to not put it on what I taught when I taught kindergarten. That's interesting. That's really weird. I feel like the J is like super, like, needs the line above it because that's how I was taught. It's like, this is a J. End of story. J right there. J for joy. J. Anyway, but yeah, this is true. I mean, there's a lot of fonts that don't put the line, but the way my son writes his J, it looks like a U. I'm like, no, like one side needs to be higher. Put the line on that so you can distinguish that it's not a U, right? Your name's not Ushwa or Ushi. Anyway, the controversial line on the J. LOL. You guys are funny. Okay, so that's each one of my kids. Then comes my schedule. All right. Oh, I forgot. No, for Caleb, he has, sorry, Wednesday's a big, let me go day by day. So for Caleb, when the siblings have online classes, I work with coloring with Caleb because he loves coloring, and he's left-handed. Both my boys are left-handed and both my girls are right-handed. Crazy, I know. But yeah, I mean, some people will tell you 2-year-olds, you can't tell which side they prefer, but he only ever writes with his left hand. Definitely showing that preference, which he's close to 3. So anyway, um, he has a love for coloring. He loves coloring. He even knows how to take the marker caps off and kind of put them back on. But if he is unsupervised and there are markers out, he will color on the floor. He will color on his hands. He will color on whatever he thinks to color on. So we have to keep the markers put away. I made that mistake the other day. Oops. But luckily they're washable markers. So it just washed. I mean, it was just on the linoleum floor, not a big deal. And hands, you can take a bath, no big deal. Not in trouble, just oops, mama needs to put the markers away. Thank goodness we don't have permanent markers in this house. My kids would have destroyed the house with permanent markers, my goodness. But that is neither here nor there. So we do coloring. I have a lot of coloring books for him and markers and crayons and things. He tends to bite the crayons and want to eat them. Same with pencil erasers. So I tend to try to keep those things away from him. So we do more markers with him, and he loves hand over hand writing letters. So we'll practice writing Caleb, Caleb. He smiles so big, feels so accomplished when he writes his name. I feel like, wow, he like really loves that. He lights up. Tuesdays, he goes to homeschool co-op. So he is in a toddler room. He did bite one friend one time, but besides that, he's been having pretty good behavior. He was trying to dump out the whole entire toy shelf, trying to dump it over and trying to dump things out because he's gotten into this phase of like dumping things out is so much fun for him. So I have had to be really strict with him and tell him no and let him know that we do not dump things out and make him help clean it back up because otherwise my house would be destroyed by now, which it's been destroyed a few times over with dumping out bookshelves and toy buckets and all the things. I've moved a lot down to the playroom and now I need to reorganize my playroom in the basement. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. On Wednesdays, my girls go to homeschool co-op. Tuesdays is homeschool co-op. My girls go to Christian school on Wednesdays, so my two little boys stay home with me. So Joshy has his online class, and Caleb has his speech therapist come to the house. We do speech therapists with infants and toddlers, and we also do have like a teacher that comes with parents as teachers. But both of those he ages out of when he turns 3, and they both lead into like public school preschool, which they've been really pressuring me to do, but I just don't have peace about it, so we're not going to be doing that. Judge me if you want to, but we have chosen not to do the public school preschool. But I may be seeking out speech therapy for him that'll maybe be covered by Medicaid. We'll see. We'll see what happens, but I feel like he's doing really well. Laura said, do you do timeouts for bad behavior? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. If I was a daycare teacher, I would do timeouts for bad behavior. For my bigger kids, I take their iPads away. They lose privileges. I'm very much action reaction. I just feel like, okay, the closest thing to a timeout that I do is like putting my kid in his stroller if he's running away at the park and not coming back. But that's just like not as much of a timeout, and it's more of like a safety thing. Like we were at the pool and Caleb kept running away from me at the pool, and that's just a safety issue. I had to contain him in the stroller in his seatbelt, and he did not like that, and it was like too bad, timeout. That's the closest thing to timeout I do. But yeah. We tend to do more action reaction, like you dumped out a bucket of toys, you need to help pick it up, you like, for example, you're being mean to your sister, we're not going to go to the park, you know what I mean? Like you need to apologize and give your sister a hug, you need to behave yourself, you know what I mean? Like we're very much more action reaction, like you don't do your homework, you don't get your iPad. You know what I mean? Like more like reward type thing. My kids are pretty well behaved. Just don't ask don't ask Josh, she's a wanted teacher. Okay, attention span and behavior, I feel like these are different things, you know what I mean? So a child may be viewed as naughty when really they have a short attention span and lacking the ability to stay in their seat. That's not necessarily naughty. Anyway, controversial, I know, but what's your opinion on spanking? Spanking. I feel like I shouldn't admit on the internet if I spank my kids or not. But I am not against it fully, but I think that it should not be your main go-to. Because I think spanking can get abusive. You know what I mean? So I think it shouldn't be your first thing and your all the time thing and like all day long. I feel like I feel this way about yelling as well. Like if you raise your voice all the time, it's just white noise. You know what I mean? But for me, like I raise my voice in situations like that are dangerous, like running away in parking lots, not behaving in situations that are dangerous. I raise my voice. Why? Because then it stands out. Oh, this is super important. If I yelled at my kids all the time, it wouldn't stand out. It would just be white noise, The same thing is that with spanking. Like if you spank your kids all the time, it's not going to stand out to them as like something like I've done something wrong. It's just like my mom just hits me all the time. Like I don't even remember what I did. Right. So I feel like for the most part, we don't spank. But if it's like a really big deal, there's been occasion that there's been a spanking or two in this house, but it has not been very frequent. I don't feel like it should be your main go-to, but If I were working at a daycare, I would do I would do sit in the corner, all that stuff. I do not enjoy doing timeout. That's just sit on the naughty step, on the naughty chair. That's just not my style. I tend to be more like y'all are fighting over a toy. The toy is in timeout. I take the toy. You both want this toy. Y'all can't get along. I'm taking. Nobody gets it. Too bad. Get over it. Y'all made a big mess. Y'all gonna clean it up. You know what I mean? Here comes my Deborah. This is my Deborah. Hi, sweetheart. Mwah. Also, anyway, you have to be careful not to be abusive towards your kids because when they get older, they won't talk to you anymore. You know what I mean? Come sit by me, baby. All right, so Deborah, let's talk real quick. Let's go back to talking about Deborah. Deborah, tell me about choir.
It was good.
Do you love choir?
Yeah.
Okay, show your teeth that you lost. This is my Deborah.
I lost 2 teeth at the top and 2 teeth at the bottom.
You've lost 4 teeth total. These are my 4 kids. So that's another thing, Deborah. I think it's important to have one-on-one time with your kids so we go on dates.
Yay, dates!
Yay, dates. For example, the other day, I took Joshy and Deborah to Dollar Tree.
When I was at choir.
It was right after choir. And then I took them home. And then later, I took Caleb and Esther. Joshy, you want to be in this video?
Joshy, I don't know.
Oh, y'all need to be nice to each other. Behave. Hi, bunny. Oh, now you want to go out because your brother's in. Oh, what's up? This is my Joshua. Joshy, say hi. Do you want to be in my video? Joshy was sick yesterday. Do you feel good or bad or medium? How do you feel right now, buddy? Do you feel yucky? Yup. Are you okay, baby? Talk to me.
I am a little sick.
You're a little sick, buddy.
Because I rolled onto my bed.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll go clean that up right now. I'm sorry. Did that happen just now?
Yeah.
Oh, no, buddy. At least you don't have a fever. You do look a little yellow, though, honey.
Yeah.
Anyway, I talked about each one of my kids. I'm going to have to go in just a second. But my schedule is I teach online. My main days for teaching online is Mondays and Thursdays. Because on Wednesdays, when my girls are at Christian school, I like to focus on the boys and spend some one-on-one time with them, helping them educationally and having fun with them. And doing, that's when we have our, teachers come over to the house and stuff like that. I'm sorry you're feeling yucky, baby. Oh, my goodness. I'm going to come clean your bed in just a second, okay? Fridays I leave open for cleaning the house and doing laundry and stuff. So I mostly work every day. But for example, today's Friday. I just have a 7:30 a.m. class and an 8 p.m. class, So anyway, but yeah. Mine is still in diapers at night too. Oh yeah, you guys are talking about being in diapers at night. So my Deborah is 6.5 and she's wearing pull-ups at night. Sometimes they're dry, sometimes they're not. It just makes it easier. My Joshua, he's just turned 5. He doesn't wear pull-ups at night. He's past that, so different kids, totally different situation. Joshy didn't potty train until he was 4. But once he was potty trained daytime, he potty trained nighttime right away. So each kid is so different. Caleb is just starting to potty train, and he hasn't peed in the toilet yet. Or in the potty yet. So he sat on the potty, and then he peed on the carpet. And the other time he sat on the potty, and then he peed on the couch. So anyway, he's learning about all that. All right, well, I'm going to have to go so this child doesn't throw up on a live. But anyway, I teach quite a lot, but I'm finally reaching some of those financial goals. And yeah, so anyway, busy. All right, for the most part on Sundays, I don't teach until evening. I've got a couple classes I just started Sunday evenings. And then Saturdays, for the most part, I don't teach. I've got 3 classes in the morning, 1 class at night. So Friday, Saturday, Sundays, I try to keep wide open. Homeschool co-op days, in the evening, I teach 2 classes after we get home from piano lessons and take a rest. Then I have a couple classes, but mostly I teach on Mondays and Thursdays. Busy. Wednesdays, I teach very little. I teach 3 classes in the afternoon after I pick my girls up from school. And then we go to Awana. All right. We're gonna say thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Bye bye. This is my baby. All right. Bye bye. Gotta go clean up a bed now. Bye.